Now we're just continuing our discussion now on the value of taxable supply of goods and services, or both. The discussions are going to continue. Now the next situation where we need to determine the value properly is where the tax payable is a tax payable when value is inclusive of GST. Now, as I was explaining just now, supposing the value that you have declared or the price you are talking about is already is inclusive of GST, where in some situations it is permitted to be by the GST law to raise such invoice where you show the value as inclusive of GST. Please understand, it becomes essential for us to take out the part of GST which is already included in the valuation, and then minus GST, whatever remains would be treated as a value, and the price can be inclusive of GST sometimes. Now, if that is the case, then go with a backward calculation. You need to take out the GST part and then pay to the government. Please understand, whenever the value is inclusive of GST, also you have to take out the GST part from the value by means of a backward calculation, which we can see later with some examples. You need to pay the tax portion to the government. But please understand the distinction. The government is not talking about the value here, but the government is talking about the tax included in the value. The rule, that is Rule 9 of valuation rules, and also Rule 35 of CGST and SGST relate to that. Rule 9 and Rule 35 of CGST and SGST talk of this particular event where the value is inclusive of GST. If the value is inclusive of GST, depending upon the rate of tax, you need to bifurcate the amount of GST from the total value and then make a payment of this tax to the government according to the time frame fixed by the government. Okay. Now the next situation where we need to determine value is when the demand is raised for a past period. Now let's understand how to deal with a situation like this. Now, in a situation where the demand is raised for a past period, it means the department has identified some of your transactions which has escaped GST, and later on the government is demanding tax from you towards payment of arrears of GST on these transactions which have happened earlier. Then probably if a person has not paid GST and the demand is made later, okay, issue arises whether the amount charged by him should be taken to be inclusive of GST or exclusive of GST. Now the question is, transactions have happened in the past. GST has not been paid to the government. Now the transactions have already happened at a certain value. Now the question before us is the value charged. Do I need to take the value charged as inclusive of GST or excluding it? What do I need to do is a question. Now there are certain established accepted value procedure followed by the Indian Customs Act in terms of how to value this, and it is said that the same principle might become applicable here also. But however, we can understand this better by means of a problem little later. Now the most important point that we need to understand in respect of a past period transaction is in case the transactions have crossed an year and then the proceedings are happening, then since the time has elapsed, you will not be able to, or you will not be eligible for any ITC, that is input tax credit. You cannot adjust these tax credits and pay your balance of GST. It means you will lose the benefit of ITC in respect of case where demand is raised for a past period. There are two issues which are important for a case where demand is raised for a past period. Number one, you need to decide, or you need to what is to, I mean, how can we take the value as, can I take the value as inclusive of GST or without that, and I need to charge GST on that value? Number one. Number two, what is the period? If the period is beyond the period that is allowed for the ITC to be taken, then we will not be eligible for any input tax credits. And when it comes to calculation of taxes, etc., there are certain established practices which are already followed under the previous excise and custom duty levy period. The same look to be followed here also. Let's solve some problems and then try to understand this in detail. But however, when we talk of valuation or the taxable value of goods or services, this situation also need to be kept in mind. What is the situation where the government is demanding, or a demand is raised for a past period? If they are demanding, two questions need to be addressed again. One is the value that was charged, can I take it as inclusive of GST and probably the GST portion is taken out and paid to the government along with interest and penalty as per the rules? Or should I take it as a gross value net of GST and then charge GST on that? Okay. Now, how the calculations have to be made, as I told you, depends upon the practice which was followed earlier in the previous acts of excise and customs, and the similar is perhaps tried to be put here. There is no clarity on that. And as far as, please understand, any GST paid to the government, the registered dealer is also entitled for an input tax credit, as GST is essentially a tax only on the value addition, and this tax on value addition is established or arrived at by means of the gross transactions of buying and selling getting adjusted to each other. It means when I buy goods, I pay GST, and when I sell goods, I collect GST. So when I collect GST on my sales, I need to remit it to the government. So before I remit it to the government, all the GST that I might have paid on the the corresponding purchases, I need to adjust and eventually pay only the balance of GST to the government. So the price or the GST payment that I have made on the purchases, which is being adjusted against the GST liabilities arising out of my sales, is what is called technically the input tax credit. So this is what it is. Now, in case the period up to which the ITC is allowed under the Act has exceeded when such a demand is being made, please understand, you may have to pay tax to the government as it has escaped earlier, as the transaction has escaped tax earlier, but however you will not be entitled for any input tax credit. So what is the next situation? The next situation is GST on outward freight, packing and other charges in the tax invoice. Please understand, any such things, any such expenses like the outward freight, the packing and other charges, tax, etc., how these are to be dealt with also need to be seen, whether these things need to be added for the purpose of determining the final value, or some of these need to be added and some of them not. What is that? Let's see now. Now the next important situation, as I said, is GST on outward freight, packing and other charges included. And as far as the freight is concerned, it depends upon the type of contract, whether it's an FOR contract, if it is on FOR basis or otherwise. Now, depending upon who pays the outward freight, the valuation principles apply. Now, supposing the supplier himself pays outward freight, and in case he pays GST on outward freight under RCM, that is the reverse charge mechanism, then in such a case, all the amount of outward freight that he has paid, including packing and other charges, need to be included in the invoice, and on the composite value the GST shall be calculated. And in case the same is paid by the buyer, then again the buyer need to pay tax on outward freight, or from his point of view inward freight, on reverse charge mechanism. And in any case, in case the seller has paid the freight, the amount shall be included in the invoice, and in case the buyer is paying it, the question of the seller including it does not arise. However, on the inward freight paid by the buyer, the tax under GST need to be paid under RCM, that is reverse charge mechanism. This is very, very clear. Is that clear? And another important point is, in both the cases, according to subject to fulfilling other terms and conditions, both the seller or the buyer, whoever may have paid the GST under the reverse charge mechanism, would always be entitled for an ITC adjustment against the payment of liability. Is it clear? The next important point is subsidies directly linked to supply other than government subsidies. So whenever any subsidies are received by the government, any subsidy, as you understand, will go to reduce the value of, or the incidence of, the burden on the final recipient of goods or service. So in such a case, how the valuation has to be done under the GST Act is something that we need. So another situation that we are now encountering is the subsidies directly linked to supply other than government subsidies. You forget about government subsidies now. Other than government subsidies, if there are any subsidies which are directly linked to the supply in question, then how do we treat these subsidies? Any subsidy invariably will go to reduce the cost. So if with reduced cost, the valuation also automatically need to be reduced, and now the GST will be applied on a lower value. So whenever any subsidy is paid other than government subsidies, we need to be very careful as to whether the subsidy need to be adjusted against the value of the supply or not. So let's look into the provisions as they stand now. Now, when we talk of subsidies for the purpose of valuation of taxable goods and services, taxable value of goods and services, it's very essential for us to understand that we do not include any subsidies given by central and state government for the purpose of valuation. Any subsidies of central and state government are excluded from the valuation. Other than the subsidies given by the central and state government, if there is any other subsidy which is given and is linked to the price directly, then that particular subsidy need to be included for the purpose of valuation and added to the value of the transaction. So it means the final value of the transaction will increase by the amount of subsidy that is linked to the price directly. And it is also to be observed that this fact has been very clearly explained even in the definition of the word consideration under section 2 subsection 31 of the CGST Act. Section 2 subsection 31 of the CGST Act defines what consideration is. At the beginning of the lecture, just now you have seen, it is the consideration, it is the sole consideration that the buyer pays to the seller, which will be treated as the value of the transaction. First we said it's a value of the transaction, then we said it's a price which is paid by one party to the other. Now when we say price, it's nothing but consideration for the transaction. Now what this consideration means also is clearly defined under section 2 subsection 31 of the CGST Act, which also clarifies about this issue of subsidy. Now please be clear on this, that if there is any subsidy from the central and state government, the same will not be included in value for the purpose of charging GST. Any subsidy other than that of state and central government, if they are linked directly to the price, then you need to include it for the purpose of valuation. It means the value of your product or service will go up to the extent of subsidy that you may have received, right? In other words, the explanation, I am just reading the explanation for you. This is how the explanation goes. The amount of subsidy shall be included in the value of supply of the supplier who receives the subsidy. If the supplier has received any subsidy, and again I am saying except the subsidies of central and state government, any other kind of subsidy that the supplier might have received have to be added to the price of the product. It means the value of your transaction will go up to the extent of subsidy received. So this is another instance of how the valuation need to be made. Please understand. Now don't lose sight of the primary subject. What is that we are studying now? We are studying different circumstances of valuation. Different circumstances of valuation. How to value a transaction so that I am able to charge my GST on that. And again at this point of time, let's repeat for a while that how is GST collected finally? What is GST and indirect tax? How is it collected? By means of charging the percentage of tax on the value of the transaction. So the value of transaction, again I repeat, becomes extremely important from the point of view of the not only buyer and seller, but from the point of view of the government which is collecting tax also, because higher the value, higher the tax, lower the value, lower the tax is the equation, because essentially it is collected on the basis of a percentage of GST charged on the value. So determination of value becomes all the more important. Now we already have seen a lot of different situations where how the valuation is required to be made, based on which the tax laws will become, the tax rates will become applicable. Now in that direction, there's another very typical situation we need to see, and how the valuation of transaction can be done in such a scenario. That is discount or incentive given post supply. It means the supply has been done, the supply of goods or services happened, and later on you are trying to provide a discount or an incentive. In a situation like that, how the valuation has to be done for the purpose of charging GST, let's look at it now.